All right. Welcome back. Welcome in. You have found us once again. Shoot the Gap, the Rabbit Hole Fantasy Football Focus Show, here to help you to be gruntled with your fantasy football team and your fantasy football decisions. I am Brian the Amigo Baldwin. I am so glad and honored that you are allowing me to be part of your fantasy football journey. Yeah, if you're watching this, you know what? I should say hello, future champions. That's what I should say to you guys right now, because if you're watching this, that means you're hardcore, okay? Which is a great thing, okay? And that means that you're working hard. And that's what gets you rings, is working hard. Right now is the grind, man. This is whenever it was fun. Back in August and September, it was cool, it was fun, it was exciting. And now we've been doing it for 3 months now. And now it's tough. It's tough. So we are in the thick of it. We are one game away from the championship, or you're fighting just to go ahead and keep your status up. So whatever the case may be, thank you so much. Welcome in. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. All right, it is now the 184th show, December 23rd, in this hopeful year of our Lord. And today is a great show. Okay, and this is, if you've listened to these last minute start-sit shows before, it's pretty. It's pretty quick. Yeah, like the previous, the one earlier in the week, we do Merry Christmas and we have a little bit of fun. This one though, yeah, get pretty much to the point, because hey, it's Saturday right now and the games are starting in a couple hours. So that's why this is last minute. This is up to date information to help you make a start sit decision. All right, so let's go ahead and let's just jump right into it, and let's go ahead and get started with the ins and or basically who's out. Okay, because that's always the big thing that you ask, that is on everybody's mind. The big one just came through a few minutes ago. Zach Moss is out. I think we all kind of knew that. He hadn't been practicing. Oh, excuse me, guys, by the way, if my voice sounds kind of weird. I've been fighting a cold all week long. Had to even cancel my radio show because I was contagious. So, thankfully, yeah, you can't get a virus this way, so it'll be all right. You guys will be all right. But Zach Moss. So, Jonathan Taylor's been practicing full all week. Zach Moss has not been practicing. It was kind of 1 and 1 equals 2. So backing up Jonathan Taylor will be Trey Sermon. Now they're going against Atlanta. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure how excited you are about that. Plus, I would go ahead and talk to y'all real quick about Jonathan Taylor. I would temper my expectations. If you have a better option, I would wait. I know that you're about to go to the championship and this, always start your studs and everything like that. But the problem that I'm seeing is that he just had surgery about 3 weeks ago. All right. You don't want to be that guy, okay, that puts and I know that puts somebody in and they only play a few snaps, it re-injures their thumb, and then you get 2 points. And there's nothing worse than watching that predicted points go from like 20 or 16 down to 15 to 14. I mean, just as being slowly run over by a Zamboni. Yeah, because it's not gonna happen. Just get low. You don't want to be that guy. If you can do something else, when we get to the running back section, we'll talk about that. But I wanted to go ahead and make sure and mention that now. I know that he went through some drills, I should say, in practice. But these are people that are on his team. They don't want to hurt him. I love the guy, right? Well, he's about to play people that don't love him and that are angry and that are being coached by Arthur Smith, who's probably not the most stand-up guy. So you can see it, dude. You can see him saying telling him to make sure and attack that hand to try to get the ball. So Arthur Smith, man, what was he doing, dude? What are Arthur Blank? What are the Falcons doing now? I mean, I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but dude's a thief. He's stealing. Anyway, the next one I want to talk about, and this one is kind of they might be in, might not be. This is real important. I want to talk about the top of this section. I want to make sure I mention this. Trevor Lawrence, I want to go and talk to you about him. Okay, so he hadn't been practicing all week, and then yesterday he got in a limited practice. All right, so let me go and talk to you about why that's important. So he hadn't practiced all week because of the concussion protocol. All right, so let's go ahead and compare two guys, one that's going to be out, one that's questionable. One that's out is CJ Stroud. All right, so, and he hadn't practiced all week. Okay, so he got concussed 2 weeks ago. He's feeling the concussion. So he hasn't been able to clear. He's having a tough time to get through the brain injury. Trevor Lawrence hadn't practiced all through the week until Friday. Now, 5-step concussion protocol. Fourth step, limited practice without any symptoms afterwards. And then the fifth is being cleared by an independent neurologist, right? So obviously, 1 and 1 equals 2. He's cleared 1, he's cleared 2, he's cleared 3, he's cleared 4. Or we're seeing if he's going to clear 4. We're going to see if he clears 5. The team did come out and say that if Trevor Lawrence is not able to play, he will not travel with the Jaguars. So if you hear or you read that Trevor Lawrence is not traveling, but they haven't said anything, then he's not playing. Okay, huge implications. It really is. To me, the way I'm looking at it is that if Trevor Lawrence plays, then you can play Calvin Ridley. If he doesn't, I would not play Calvin Ridley. All right, because his backup is C.J. Beathard, and I don't know, man. Maybe this is hyperbole or whatever but it really, it's one of those things like after the fact, you're like, man, it's staring right me in the face. Well, the guy's name, C.J. Beathard, his last name is Beat Hard. Okay, so it's right there in his name. But the point is that it brings back memories of a couple of years ago whenever Kellen Mond was starting for the Minnesota Vikings and against Green Bay Packers, and it was in championship week, so we're kind of close to that. And you had to make a decision if you're going to play Justin Jefferson with Kellen Mond or something else. Well, if you play Justin Jefferson with Kellen Mond, boo-boo. It was a terrible performance because Kellen Mond's a terrible quarterback. We don't know about C.J. Beathard, but I would not put him against Tampa Bay, who is fighting. They are fighting for their playoff lives. So I would not. I definitely would not put that there. So let's go ahead and go over some more outs, okay? And I'll just go ahead and mention them. If there's things that need to be discussed, then I'll do it. If not, I'll just tell you. We already know Jamar Chase. Everybody knows about what's going on with there and how to look at things. Here's what's interesting though. Okay, with the Steelers, Minkah Fitzpatrick is out. All right, and so is Kenny Pickett. All right, so Fitzpatrick being out, that means that T. Higgins is going to be a really, really good play. So keep that in mind. How about, let's see, let's go team by team. I think that'd be easier. I think before I've gone just a group, but let's just go real quick. And I think it'll be easier for everybody. The only thing for the Bills that I could think about is Ty Johnson, but that's not really anything because James Cook is the guy there, so I probably shouldn't have wasted time on that. On the Chargers, of course, we knew that Keenan Allen was going to be out. Joey Bosa's out. I mean, all these defensive linemen and cornerbacks and DBs and it's that defense is beat up. Okay, so it looks like it's gonna be a good day for James Cook. Yeah, so but yeah, Keenan Allen, I would be surprised if he plays again this, at least for the fantasy season, if not for the regular season, because he's older. There's nothing to play for. Why chance it, right? And they just fired their head coach, so that whole team is in disarray. Why put that guy out there? The Golden Goose. Why put him out there? Michael Pittman. Let's talk about him. I already talked about Zach Moss on the Colts, but let's talk about Pittman. He looks like he's going to play. Last night, I mean, he's listed as questionable, but he's cleared the concussion protocol. I know he has a shoulder thing to talk about, but that might be a problem. But as of right now, it looks like he's going to play, and so you would go ahead and put him in as normal. Let's see here. Keep going. Oh, the Packers. Jair Alexander, that cornerback, he's questionable again. Same thing with AJ Dillon. So without Alexander, that passing defense is very vulnerable. So keep that in mind whenever you're setting your lineups. Also, Jaden Reed. All right, Christian Watson is doubtful for the Packers, and then Dontavian Wicks questionable. Right, looks like the only healthy wide receiver is going to be Romeo Doubs. We'll talk about him when we get down to the section, but I wouldn't be too excited about him. Mainly because, check it out, okay? I know that's a good situation. It looks like a good situation, but it's always been like he's never once like whenever it's supposed to pop, he doesn't pop. Okay, let's keep going here. Nothing. Who cares about the Panthers? The Browns. It doesn't look like there's anybody. Their starting guard, Joel Bontanillo is out or questionable, excuse me. So that might be an issue. So keep an eye on that. Maybe, I don't know. So just keep an eye out for that. It's against the Texans. So just keep an eye. But here we go. Speaking of the Texans, holy mackerel, starting linebacker Blake Cashman out, defensive end Will Anderson out, quarterback C.J. Stroud out. All right. Those are some big hits, man. Those are some big hits, but they were able to do fine without him last game, right? So we'll see how that is. But this isn't the Tennessee Titans, and they're not mad because the Browns won't be rude and disrespectful and classless wearing the old Oilers uniforms, which they should have no claim to. That is not their history. Yeah, I know that the team followed it, but that's only because of a jerk of an owner took them. Yeah, it's not because they earned that history. They didn't. The Oilers stay here in Houston. It's just the way it is, man. It just you didn't see whenever the Ravens left Cleveland. When they left Cleveland to go to Baltimore to be the Ravens. First of all, they changed their name, which the Titans didn't do until about a couple of years later, and they didn't take their history. Yeah, leave the history with the city. Such a classless organization. Very, very disappointed in the Tennessee Titans. So the Texans are not going to be, they're not going to be so pumped up against the Browns. They're going to be home. They're still but they still are fighting for a playoff spot. They're tied in the AFC South right now, so that's a big deal. So, but Nico Collins is the big one right there. He had a limited practice all week long, so he's leaning towards playing. But if he doesn't play, this is one of those things that's just like the Trevor Lawrence and Ridley thing. Is that if Collins doesn't play, then you play Dwayne. You play Brown. Not Dwayne Brown. Don't play Dwayne Brown. But you play Brown. Okay. Yeah. But you don't. But if he's not. But if Collins is playing, you still can play Brown because of Tank Dell being out. But I would not. I wouldn't be so confident. I would be looking elsewhere if possible. But here's what's weird is that this is going to be a really interesting game because Case Keenum is the quarterback that's starting for the Texans. He loved Brown. Okay, that was his main target, but it was his only target. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It'd be interesting if Collins plays. I would rather, again, like I've preached all year long, I would like Theory on my bench. Let's see what happens. So don't drop Brown. Let's just see what happens. The Lions, I'm looking here. I don't see really anything too crazy there. The Vikings. Let's go to the Vikings. Now, Alexander Madison is questionable. Okay. So what does that mean for Ty Chandler? Not a darn thing. I think the change has happened. There's no reason to put Alexander Madison out there. You've known him, you've seen him for 3 years as a backup to Cook. You gave him his opportunity, the coach gave him his opportunity, and he literally fumbled it away. And Ty Chandler just grabbed on and just was a stud last week, broke out. So I would not be worried about playing Ty Chandler if Alexander Madison plays. I just wouldn't do it. Commanders. How about the Commanders? Brian Robinson is out. Brian Robinson Jr. is out again with that hamstring. That poor guy, man. That poor guy. His rookie year starts off getting shot in the foot, in the leg, or was it in the ass? I remember he got shot. Okay, yeah, I think it was in the ass. Yeah, so he got shot and got over that, and now he's got a hammy problem. So he's out. That makes Antonio Gibson interesting, but not a must play. We'll talk about it when we get to the. When we get to the running back section. Let's go to the Jets. This is where Dwayne Brown is. Okay, Dwayne Brown, the offensive tackle, he's questionable. Jordan Whitehead, the stud defensive back, is questionable, and the running back, everybody's all excited about Israel Abanikanda, is questionable. So that will leave open the door for Dalvin Cook. If you're really feeling it, man, if you're really wanting to play that game. But I'm expecting Jordan Whitehead to be out there. That defense is they kind of pull each other together, so I could see that happening. And of course, as you know, Aaron Rodgers is not coming back this season. He did a great job. Congratulations. Bravo, Aaron Rodgers. Bravo, man. Seriously, dude. Seriously. I mean, you got knocked out for the season, fourth play of the season. Okay, fourth snap of the offensive snap of the season, and you're out. Yet you still were able to stay in the headlines. You still were able to people pick him up and like, maybe is he going to play? You're still able to try to stay relevant. So great job on that, man. I know, like I said in the last show, Aaron Rodgers is a flower, and the water that you got to water him is attention, or he'll die. So bravo, man. You got all that watering you got. Bravo. But yeah, you ain't gonna do nothing, nothing this season. He played everybody. He played. I mean, I always heard that he was really, really smart. Good job. He did a great job. Great job getting all that attention. All right, so let's move on to the Seahawks. Kenneth Walker is questionable, but he's leaning towards playing. Looks like he is going to play. The head coach came out and said that he's shown things that he really liked on Friday. So it looks like Kenneth Walker is going to play. So that puts, you know who, back of the line. Back of the line. Yeah, Charbonnet. Yeah, Kenneth Walker is a fly in the Charbonnet. Yeah, so yeah, there you go on that. But safety Jamal Adams is out. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind when when we get down to the wide receivers. Okay, you know about that's something that might be a teetering thing for you if you're trying to make a decision. Also, linebacker Frank Clark is out due to an illness. Yeah, so that's never cool. I know how that is. Okay. All right, so let's go to the Titans. Going down the line. I mean, the Titans really fantasy relevant. I mean, Derrick Henry's healthy. That's all that matters, right? Spears is healthy. That's all that matters, right? Everybody else. No. And D-Hop's there. Yeah, so. Yeah, Will Levis questionable, but we all knew about that. I mean, so he's probably going to be out. On the Jaguars, we already talked about Lawrence, but we didn't talk about Zay Jones. Okay, Zay Jones, this poor guy can't stay healthy, and this is a big deal too, because this is something to keep in mind also. Is remember, this show is meant to help you make decisions, right? We're not here to tell you what to do and to try to be like admonish you if you didn't, listen to what we had to say and you're dumb and we're smart and all that. No, man. We're just hanging out here, dude. This is a fun place, right? This is a safe place. This is where we are just trying to give you some information, try to help you make your decisions, right? That's what we're doing here, right? And Zay Jones, one thing to keep in mind is that Calvin Ridley has a difficult problem being the number one. Okay, he does. And having Zay Jones, that deep threat, kind of really helped him out. And now that Captain Kirk, yeah, why not? Christian Kirk is out. Yeah, so if Zay Jones doesn't play, that could be difficult for Ridley, even though the Tampa Bay defense has been shredded, the secondary has. Again, if CJ Beathard is not, and I'm going to say it that way. I know it's Beathard, and I apologize in advance to CJ Beathard and to the Beathard family for saying Beathard, but I'm making sure to do that to help fantasy managers see exactly the truth. Okay, just like how whenever I say concussion, I say brain injury. Keep that reality. So CJ Beathard. Okay, if CJ Beathard is starting and there's no Zay Jones, then man, you sit Ridley, man. And he's also kind of Ridley's kind of a weird play if Zay Jones doesn't. We haven't got a word one way or the other yet, but keep an eye out on that. The Bucks, there's nothing significance there. The Cardinals. This is a big thing right here on the Cardinals. Okay, I know that you're like, oh, well, what about the Cardinals? Who cares, right? I do care because the tight end won since week 8. Okay, Trey McBride. Okay, and Trey McBride operates more like a wide receiver than a tight end. And they're playing against Chicago, who I know that everybody's like, oh, start the Chicago defense, and that they are now feisty and blah, 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 and all that. Well, dude, and there's also like a misnomer that's going to rain. I checked the weather, and it's going to be rainy, but little patches of drizzle. Okay, little stuff. You could probably mow your yard in it. Okay, it's not going to be anything, man. Don't even look at that. All right, that's what that's what I suggest. But Marquise Brown is going to be out. Okay, Greg Dortch is questionable. All right, these are wide receivers. Kyler Murray's favorite target is Trey McBride. In fact, my favorite My favorite, I know it sounds crazy, my favorite stack of this week really is Murray and McBride. It really is. That's my favorite stack. So, with Marquise Brown out, that puts McBride up. I would try to find a way, if you can, to get Trey McBride into your lineup. So the Bears, Deontay Foreman, of course, he's questionable. Running back Travis Homer, questionable. The backfield, questionable. Okay, to start, I wouldn't even look at it. But because the number one running back is Justin Fields, it's just the way it goes, man, and just the way it is. And I just wouldn't. I mean, I know that they're playing against the Cardinals, so we'll talk about the running backs when we get there. Wide receiver, Equanimous St. Brown. He's out due to a spectoral. That's the only reason I wanted to say it, because spectoral. Wanted to give my shot at his name, but also tell you spectoral. Haven't said that in a while. I don't think I ever have. All right, the Cowboys. I mean, the defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins is out, but whatever. Let's go to the Dolphins. Dolphins, holy mackerel. Listen to this questionable list. Tyreek Hill, Xavier Howard, okay, defensive back Elijah Campbell. I mean, jeez, yeah, defensive end, Emmanuel Ogba. I mean, all these people are questionable. Am I worried about them? No. The only one really ruled out was the offensive lineman Robert Hunt, which that hurts the line, but we already knew about that. I expect Howard and Tyreek Hill to play. But again, it's against that Dallas defense. We'll get to the wide receivers when we get there, but I'm nervous about Tyreek Hill, man. I'll tell you why. Okay, because he has an ankle situation. Plus, we found the gap. Okay, we found the weakness in the armor of the Dolphins, of the Dallas Cowboys. It was found by the Bills last week. Run the ball against them. What's the Dolphins great against? Running the ball. Okay, so I think 1 and 1 might equal 2 there. We'll talk about it when we get there. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the Patriots. Juju Smith-Schuster, Ramondre Stevenson out. But that means that Ezekiel Elliott is a play. So there you go. Don't want to waste too much time there. Broncos tight end Greg Dulcich is out. That doesn't really mean much. Raiders. Here's interesting with the Raiders, but we've seen this before. Okay, two things. First of all, Max Crosby did not practice all week. All right, so he did that last week and he played and he did fine. So keep an eye on that if you're wanting to go that route, or if you're playing against the Kansas City, but Josh Jacobs, hopefully if you're a Josh Jacobs manager, you're smart enough to get Zamir White, okay? Because I think Josh Jacobs is, as much as people are saying whoever's going to be the running against Kansas City, I think is going to have a good game. That Kansas City defense is not what it used to be, or what it's being propped up to be. So I would say Josh Jacobs is a good start if he does not play, but in Zamir White. Okay, I know that other people have been saying other things. This is just why I'm saying and I'm talking about flex, everybody, or RB2. Okay, but what you're looking at, okay, is what is king, right? Usage is king in fantasy football, right? That's why I like McBride. He's being used in an elite tight end manner. That's why I like him. Josh Jacobs is used in an elite manner. Okay, whenever we found out last week, whenever he's out, Zamir White is used in an elite manner. So yeah, those guys I think are good plays there. Jerick McKinnon on the Chiefs and did not practice all week, but I would not be surprised if he plays. Kadarius Toney, screw that guy. He's not trustworthy. Oh God, man, so disappointing. Right? The human joystick. Well, the joystick is whenever you've been playing the game too long and you hoed it out. It breaks easy. Yeah, it broke off and you put super glue in, so when you go in, it breaks off again real easy. So that's crazy. McCall Hardman, who cares? Giants. Let's see the Giants. Okay, let me see here. The Matt Breida. Matt Breida is limited. Who cares? Yeah, that's a who cares. Giants is who cares. Let's talk about the Eagles. Yeah, this is interesting. Man. Devonta Smith. Wide receiver Devonta Smith did not practice. All right. So keep an eye on that. He hasn't been ruled out yet. Okay. He is one of the players that don't have to practice. But yeah, he might not be out there, man. If he does that, who? Let me ask you. Let me ask you real quick, and I'll pause for a second. Who gets the benefit if Devonta Smith doesn't play? No, it's Dallas Goedert. Okay, I know you're thinking, oh, AJ Brown. No, Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert. So good news for Dallas Goedert there. Zach Cunningham, linebacker, he also did not practice, and then Darius Slay did not practice. So yeah, man. So anything playing against the Eagles, whew, yeah, that defense, which was already leaky, we saw what happened last week without Slay. Not good. Nothing on the Ravens. And I think we'll round it out with the 49ers. Elijah Mitchell didn't practice. Who cares? Yeah. Seriously, man. I hate to say it that way, but who cares? All right. So let's go ahead and let's move on. Let's move on. Yeah, that was a little long. And so that means that I'm going to have to shoot through these start-sit things pretty quick, which you don't mind anyway, I think. So let's go ahead and let's start off with the start sit for for quarterbacks. Let's go and start with the easy ones. Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott. I mean, all these guys are ones that you're going to play, right? I mean, you're not really worried too much about these guys, so don't need to worry about that. How about this guy, Tua? How are we feeling about Tua against those Dallas Cowboys? How are we feeling about that? So the Cowboys, man, they run man coverage, okay, and they'll have and they should have a strong downfield passing game, okay. So it looks like it's going to be a shootout, okay. It looks like it's going to be a shootout between Tua and between Dak, okay. The concern I would have with Tua is not necessarily if Tyreek Hill's going to play. He's not one of those guys that gets like one nick and he doesn't want to go out there. He loves to play, and he has a wife obviously that pushes him to play. So that's somebody who has a wife that pushes him. Yeah, I can tell you that's a big factor. But what I would say though is that the biggest issue I would say is if they run, if they find because look how bad Josh Allen did against Dallas, right? That was supposed to be a shootout. Again, supposed to be a shootout. So I would say I would be leaning towards sitting Tua, to be honest with you, especially if you're fighting for your championship life. If not, you're just trying. You can get saucy with it if you want, but I would try to do something else. I would prefer Joe Flacco over Tua, to be honest with you. Yeah, against the Texans. Let's see here. Baker Mayfield against Jacksonville. Okay. So you saw what Mayfield did last week. Why wouldn't you start him again? So that's an easy go. Jared Goff against Minnesota. I would sit him. I would sit Jared Goff if possible, man. He is kind of like you can't really depend on him. He's hot and cold, and Minnesota's defense really has picked up as of late. So I don't trust him. I don't trust him. Okay, so yeah, I don't like Jared Goff. I would suggest looking for something else. You probably have gotten this far without him, so I would go with that other option. Nick Mullins, how about that? Let's talk about that. Nick Mullins is a play. He definitely is somebody you can start based on what he did last week. He passed for over 300 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns. Great. 2 interceptions. Okay. Yeah, and playing against the Lions, and the Lions aren't really they're that old. That's a gray mare. They ain't what she used to be. Okay. Yeah, so Nick Mullins looks like he would be a strong play. Mullins over Tua. Yeah, I think that would do that. I think I would do that. Okay, we already talked about Trevor Lawrence. Joe Flacco. I already talked about Joe Flacco. Dude, look what he did last week. And I already went through all the injuries of the Houston Texans, right? I mean, so yeah, and I like Joe Flacco this week. I mean, I know I'm wearing a Texans hat, but I definitely do like Joe Flacco this week. Russell Wilson is somebody that is always is turned into always a solid start, especially against the New England Patriots. They have been a little bit better, but I think that if you're happy with what you've been getting with Russell Wilson, that's what you're going to get, and I wouldn't be too concerned about that. So let's talk about Kyler Murray. Okay. Yeah. So it's easy. It's late to me. It's lazy reporting to sit Kyler Murray because the Bears defense is filling the force with Matt Eberflus, all around. I mean, no, whatever, dude. Go back. The best thing to do, everybody. The best thing to do, no matter what I say, no matter what you hear, no matter what you read, you have your app, okay? You can go to the quarterbacks that played against Chicago the past 3 weeks. Look to see what they did. That was Jared Goff. He did okay. And Joe Flacco, you saw what Joe Flacco did last week. All right? I mean, I don't get it. I would start Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray over Tua, obviously, because I said to sit Tua, right? But I like Kyler Murray's floor. That's one thing I like about it. Everybody is like, it's easy to jump on him and be like, bad Kyler Murray. But the guy's always had a floor with his legs. He's always had that. And what's the cheat code for quarterbacks? A running quarterback. That's what you got. Okay? I mean, it seems obvious to me, but I think the minutia is making it scary. So I would say Kyler Murray is a confident start, low end QB1, but a QB1 that nonetheless. Jordan Love against Carolina. All right, so I would sit him because you can run against Carolina, and that's what you do against Carolina. But don't tell Arthur Smith that. Because Arthur Smith, you can't run. I mean, you can run against Carolina, but let's get the worst guy to run the ball. Let's get the worst guys to run the ball, and let's have them do that. Forget this otherworldly talent. Okay, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I just hate seeing an abuse of a talent. And here's the problem: is that Bijan Robinson now he has the talent and the ability and the skill to have one of the best rookie years in the NFL ever, right? But because of Arthur Smith and his idiocracies, okay, and yes, that's a word, or now it is idiocracy. It's a movie, but idiosyncrasies, I should say. Yeah, just killed that guy, right? Carolina is the worst team in the league. You can run against them. That's what I would be doing. Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito. Playing against Philadelphia. If he starts, I would start him, man. I would start him. I already told you. Okay, so yeah, Jake Browning against Pittsburgh. He's a solid start. I would start DeVito and Browning over Tua if I had to. Sam Howell, I would stay away from because he's playing against the Jets. We already see what the Jets done. Another thing about Joe Flacco, I wanted to make sure I mention while I'm in the quarterback section. Yeah, they turned Zach Wilson into an AFC monster, right? So keep that in mind. Geno Smith, yes, he looks like he's going to play, so I would go ahead and start him. So let's go ahead and let's move on to the running backs. Okay, I'm going to try to go faster here, guys. Sorry about taking so much time. Here's the easy starts: Christian McCaffrey, James Cook, Kyron Williams. Rashad White, Raheem Mostert. Yeah, I think he's probably going to be really good this week. Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan. You're always starting Bijan. Yeah, always going to have faith in Bijan. Screw Arthur Smith. Golly, I hope he gets fired. Breece Hall against Washington. You're going to start him. Zeke, we already talked about him. Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones. We talked about Taylor, so I already talked about that. Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is an iffy start. I love this start. Pacheco. Yeah, he's back. Isaiah Pacheco's back. Yeah, that means that Clyde Edwards-Helaire, sell. Tis the season, right? Trading places. Be in there with your tag. Sell Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Get out of that Clyde Edwards-Helaire business. It was fun last week. It's over. David Montgomery, yes. Travis Etienne is a start, but man, I would be expecting low numbers, dude. He's starting to break down with all that extra work. Plus, it's against the Tampa Bay running. And I told you when I went over the Tampa Bay outs, I did not mention Vita Vea. So he's going to be there. That's a problem for Etienne. And the only thing I would say would be helpful is that if CJ Beathard plays, then he's going to be he'll be checking down to Etienne. So you might get something there. Saquon is a start, even though it's against a tough defense against Philly. But temper your expectations. We already talked about Josh Jacobs. Chuba Hubbard. Yeah, there's that name against Green Bay. Green Bay's weak against the run, so Chuba Hubbard is a start. DeAndre Swift against the Giants. Yes, I would start him. How about these guys? How are we feeling? Okay, I didn't mention Devon Achan. Okay, whenever I mentioned Raheem Mostert, let me mention him now. Raheem Mostert, Devon Achan, I think they're good starts. I apologize for my stuffiness. I'm trying to work through it as fast as I can here. These two guys, Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. Cincinnati lost DJ Reader. That is their run stuffer. Okay, I think that Najee Harris is going to be a great play this week. I do. I really do. And but temper your expectations. But I think that this is what they're going to do. It makes sense. They're starting Mason Rudolph. Okay, Pittsburgh Steelers are. So it seems true to me that they're going to lean on the run, especially with Cincinnati being weak on the run. Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, I think they're going to do very well. James Conner against the Bears. Yeah, you can't take him out, but I would temper my expectations. Same thing with Kenneth Walker. You could play him against Tennessee. They have not been so tough lately, and so I would. Gosh, man. You know what? If you have a better option, sit Kenneth Walker. I don't want to see a thing where he gets like he's limited, he gets hit on that shoulder and he's out. Dude, these are the playoffs, buddy. You don't want to play these games. Yeah, so I would get away from him. Same thing with Austin Eckler. I would get away from him. I would. All the Chargers are dead to me now in fantasy. They should be dead to you. And I already talked to you about Rashawn Johnson and Khalil Herbert against Arizona. I guess Khalil Herbert would be the guy. I guess I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'd stay away from that. Even though it's a great matchup, I'd stay away from all those running backs, especially if I could. Tyler Spears is a desperation at best, but he's not a sit, but he's a desperation start. So he's like, I don't want to start him, but how about Javonte Williams against New England? That is a tough matchup. That's a tough matchup. And Javonte Williams poo-pooed on you last week. So, yeah, I would just go ahead and sit him. Gus Edwards, I would sit him. Even though that Keaton Mitchell is out, I would sit him. All right, because San Francisco's tough. Ty Chandler. I mentioned him earlier. I'm going to say it again. Play him. Right? Usage is king in fantasy football. Play him. I don't care. It's against Detroit. Play him. Jerome Ford, I would sit him against Houston. Yeah, it's just really hard to trust him, especially since it's kind of a committee there. Devin Singletary against Cleveland. Play him, dude. I told you, man. Quantity's king. Great. These are great flex plays, man. So I would go ahead. Yeah, I mean he's taking over as a lead back. Play him. Kareem Hunt, he's a sit also. Antonio Gibson against the Jets. Yeah, so. Antonio Gibson is going to be a mild start. He's a flex play. He definitely is a flex play against the Jets with Brian Robinson Jr. out, but you're not going to feel good about it, so just I wouldn't do it if I didn't have to, but it's not he's not going to win you the game. I don't think he's going to win you your game, but he shouldn't goose you. Especially since Robinson is out. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the wide receivers. Okay, wide receivers. Easy starts. See, I mentioned Tyreek Hill, but if he's playing, you're going to start him. I mean, just the way it is. But man, in my league, I played a 10-man league, and a guy playing for the championship made the choice of playing Tyreek Hill over Puka. I wouldn't have done that. And what happened? In our league, it's a little juiced. Puka had a phenomenal day, like almost 50 points in my league, right? So, yeah. So it's I would definitely. That was a mistake there. That might have actually cost him. Yeah, we'll see. But having 46.5 points sitting on your bench is not a good look when you're trying to fight for the championship. But Tyreek Hill. Again, at this point, at this juncture where we're at now, if he's playing, you'd play him. A.J. Brown, C.D. Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, D.J. Moore, D.K. Metcalf, Debo Samuels, Brandon Ayuk, Rashee Rice, Stephon Diggs, Jalen Waddle, Garrett Wilson. Yeah, Garrett Wilson against Washington. I would start him with confidence, even though Trevor Siemian is playing. I think I mentioned that Zach Wilson was out. Trevor Siemian is starting. I would still play Garrett Wilson. Hopefully, all they got to do is because tell Siemian, say, hey, number 17, that otherworldly talent that can is an incredible athlete. Throw to him, okay? Screw everybody else, or all the old has-beens we signed just to make Rodgers happy. Let's go after that guy. Yeah. Hopefully they fire the general manager for the Jets. He should not be around anymore. Yeah, he totally set that team up for failure. I mean, come on, man. Throwing all your dice on Rodgers and not putting anything behind him, that's stupid. All right, Devontae Adams, T. Higgins, I already told you, I think it's a strong play. Cortland Sutton, he's the guy you have to play. Same thing with Amari Cooper. And Michael Pittman Jr., I talked about him earlier. If he plays, then I would go ahead and play him. DeAndre Hopkins, I think, is a fine start against Seattle. Jacoby Myers, I don't like that. I don't like it. Yeah, I just don't like Aiden O'Connell. I just think he can only support Devontae Adams. All right, so it's tough. Jordan Addison did great, didn't he? Against Detroit. Detroit is they're beatable. They're beatable on that side. So Jordan Addison's a good flex. If Jaden Reed plays against Carolina, he's hard not to play. But I wouldn't play him. I'd sit him. Adam Thielen against Green Bay, I would sit him. Chris Godwin, look what he did. Yeah, man. What have you done for me lately? So I would go ahead and do him. Go ahead and play him. Drake London, I think, is a fine start against Indianapolis. Hopefully Arthur Smith is now, there's been a report earlier today that Arthur Smith is now back on the hot seat after they said, oh, he's going to be fine. After Arthur Blank, the owner, said, no, he's going to be okay unless there's a catastrophic breakdown. Well, last show, I told you simple math. And it equaled into the wheels falling off the bus. So he's in trouble now. So he's going to try to stop being stupid if he can stop being stupid. But you know what? Here's one thing that's interesting. One thing I want to share with you, if you haven't figured this out already. Stupid people don't know that they're being stupid, right? Stupid people do stupid things thinking that it's smart. That's what makes it stupid. Arthur Smith is stupid, okay? So he's just a strong swimmer. That's all it is, dude. He's a strong swimmer. All right. He's got his dad is in a situation which I am not going to say anything bad about him because he's a very powerful man. So I think that you're a great guy, Arthur Smith's dad. But your son, boy, that acorn fell far away from the tree. It fell in the middle of a hurricane. That thing landed. It fell and landed like in Toledo, okay, Japan, other side of the world. Yeah, far from the tree. Dumbass. Anyway, keep on going. Noah Brown. I already mentioned about Noah Brown. Real easy. Nico doesn't play Noah Brown. Nico plays. Yeah, tight start. Told you about Calvin Ridley. If Beathard plays, don't play Ridley. Lawrence plays, go ahead and play him. Deontay Johnson, man, this one's a hard one. This one's a hard one, man. Okay, and because he is, he's gotten the most of, Devontae, I just got him right now. Devontae Smith is receiving round-the-clock treatment ahead of Monday's game, and he's really pushing to play. So we'll see what that means. Excuse me, Deontay Johnson. Okay, you get excited because, Cincinnati's been really torn up. They can't defend against the wide receivers. But Mason Rudolph is the quarterback. There's only one Rudolph that I care about this time of year, and it's not Mason, right? I'd sit Deontay Johnson. Don't do it. Odell Beckham Jr., I think that he's going to be a start against San Francisco. They're going to need him. So I think that he's going to be fine. Same thing with Zay Flowers. I don't know if I mentioned him earlier, but there's a lot of like poo-pooing on Zay Flowers right now. I like Zay Flowers. Okay, because think about it, dude. Think about it. Keaton Mitchell started coming up. Zay Flowers started going down. Keith Mitchell's out. Zay Flowers does what Keaton Mitchell did. So I think that Zay Flowers is going to be a great start. I like Zay Flowers. I like Odell Beckham Jr. They're going to need both of them to win this game, and they definitely need to win this game against San Francisco. Demario Douglas is a against Denver is a scary start. You can do it, but I wouldn't recommend it, especially if you have heart issues. Terry McLaurin against the Jets. Nope. Rashad Bateman. Nope. Tyler Lockett against Tennessee. No, I wouldn't do that. I already told you about Romeo Doubs. Yeah, I wouldn't start him. Josh Palmer, I know it's all exciting and stuff about how much he scored last week, but he had 4 receptions, everybody, off of 4 targets. That's not sustainable. I would sit him. Chargers are dead to me in fantasy. George Pickens is not. I would not start him either. Curtis Samuel. Gosh, I guess he's a scary start in bigger leagues, but in smaller leagues that I play in, like 10 leagues, I wouldn't do it. Tyler Boyd. No, I would sit Tyler Boyd, and Brandon Cooks. I would sit him. I would sit Brandon Cooks, and Gabe Davis. What's he doing on your team? I told you this like in the drops. Gabe Davis is a drop. Don't play that game anymore. Gabe Davis is a grenade. He's a landmine. Okay, just don't. All right, and if he blows up, fine, for that 1 week. Won't do it next week. Gabe Davis is no. He did this last year to everybody. Come on, man. It's like dating a stripper. Oh, I didn't know she was going to cheat on me. Come on. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the tight ends. This usually goes pretty fast now. Tight ends to start, easy. T.J. Hawkinson. Trey McBride. I already talked to you about Trey McBride. He's my tight end 1 of this week. Travis Kelce, sure, but you're not as confident as you were before, but it's whatever. That guy looks like the bell's rung on him. And he's just got engaged to Taylor Swift, so he is not thinking about football. He probably won't be coming back, man. I'm telling you, dude. There's no why. Live off your wife's money. Why? You made your own money. You made your thing. He's gone. Sam Laporta is always a good start. David Njoku, always a good start. Evan Ingram, good start. I know I mentioned all that stuff about beat hard and everything like that, but still, remember the 2 best friends of a questionable or new or rookie quarterback is a pass catching tight end and a pass catching running back. Short passes. Evan Ingram's good. Jake Ferguson against Miami. In a tight end only league, fine. Isaiah Likely, yeah, sure. Yeah, if you're in a tight end only, I think he's a fine start. Hunter Henry. Henry's hot. He's gotten hot. Yeah, man. Yeah, he's gotten zapped back to fantasy glory, hasn't he? Yeah, so I think that he's a fine start. George Kittle, of course, you're going to go and start him. Freiermuth with Mason Rudolph, no, sit. Dalton Kincaid, sit. Dallas Goedert, here he is. If there is no, he's a fine start against the Giants because the Giants stink. It's an okay matchup, but without Devontae Smith, to the moon, Alice. Darren Waller, I think he's going to be a strong start. The Eagles are bad at corner, and he's the most trusted receiver of the Giants at this point. Cade Otton, he should be in the pool. And then Dalton Schultz against Cleveland. You can roll the dice. He's a dice roll. But there's a chance. Especially if Collins isn't there, there's a chance. I would try to go elsewhere if I could, but he's not 100%. Tyler Kraft of the Packers, he's a sit. Kyle Pitts, again, and tight end only. I know it's really shallow there, so I would go and try to start him if you could, with the hope that Arthur Smith gets his crap together. But I would try to do something else. I wouldn't want to start him. But like Chiga Okonkwo, Tyler Conklin, Logan Thomas, Gerald Everett, all these guys, I'm not even I'm not even looking their way. All right, so let's go ahead and let's move on to the defenses. Almost there, everybody. Almost there. So let's go to the defenses. So the defenses that are good starts, obvious starts. Jets against Washington, yes. Bills against the Chargers, of course. Everything against the Chargers is good. Chiefs against the Vegas Raiders. That's a okay start, not a strong start. Broncos against New England, strong start. Eagles against Giants, okay start. It's a defense, right? But hopefully they'll get you double digits. Maybe, hopefully, hopefully. I would sit them. I would sit the Eagles. Now I think about it, I'd sit the Eagles. Packers, strong start against the Carolina. The Bears. The Bears is an okay start, but not as strong as everybody's saying that they are. I really do think that Arizona is going to come back and win this game. I really do. And I think it's going to be on the back of Kyler Murray and Trey McBride. I'm telling you, I'm putting it out there. If I'm a fool, I'm a fool. But you got to be brave in this business, and I'm being brave, and this is what I feel, and I wouldn't bet on the Chicago Bears. They are a sit to me. Texans, they are a sit. Come on, man. I already told you who's not going to be there. Sit them. Colts against the Falcons. Yeah, they're strong. They're a good start. They're a good start. Bengals against Pittsburgh, sit. The Lions against Minnesota, I would sit those guys. Seahawks against Tennessee. Yes, I would start them. Especially since they have a problem with the quarterback. Yeah, I would go and start them. And if you look at the Seahawks numbers, they're really not that bad of a defense. They really aren't. So I think it's going to be okay. The Ravens against San Francisco, I would not do that. The Dolphins against Dallas, I would do that. Okay, I would say it's an okay start. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to win the game for you, but it's not going to hurt you. I would start them. Okay, seriously. Okay, they are hot. They are hot right now. The Dolphins defense is, and the Cowboys melted down last week. All right, so and this is at Miami. Okay, so I'm seeing some good things here. Okay, and this is where Dallas always has a history of doing this, right? They bring people in like, oh, we can trust them, and then they go fool you, and then they do this mess. Okay, I think the Dolphins is a great defense. The Cowboys on the other side, I would sit them. All right, I just think it's going to be a great game for the Dolphins this week. The Commanders, I would start them against the Jets. No, hang on. Whoa. What am I saying? The Jets is a great matchup, but the Commanders' defense stinks. I would sit the Commanders. Don't ever start the Commanders. The Jaguars against Tampa Bay. Nope, I would not start them. Steelers against Cincinnati. They're an okay start. The Browns against Houston is a good start. I think that'll be a fine start too. So I think that did it. Hey, I did it. Yeah, I think I got all the fantasy relevant things. We got it. All right. So I want to make sure, first of all, before I say the closing everything, thank you so much, everybody. I'm very grateful to you for allowing me to be part of your fantasy journey, and I hope that everybody has a very Merry Christmas. Please enjoy the games, even if everybody does bad. If your players do bad on Christmas, please do not allow that to ruin the holiday, or don't be a jerk to your family. Don't do anything like that. Do not let fantasy football be the determining factor if you're going to enjoy one of the best holidays of the year. It only comes around once a year. Okay, so enjoy it. Do not let fantasy football ruin it, no matter what. Okay, stay strong to that, and you'll be happy that you did, because you have zero control over fantasy football, other than your choices. But once the games start, it's the Lord's will from that point on. But you do have control on it if you help your family and your loved ones enjoy the holiday. If you're acting like a jerk, you're going to ruin their holiday. Don't be a jerk. Seriously, man, don't do it. All right. If you enjoyed the content that I provided, okay, please make sure and hit the like and subscribe button. Leave me a comment. Let me know you're loving the show. Appreciate that. Make sure and click that bell. Just letting you guys know that we do, guys and gals, we do have a show. We're going to have one more show next week, and then I'm going to have a wrap-up show. And then we Shoot the Gap normally shuts down during the off season. All right, but when fantasy relevant news pops up, I will be doing episodes we call sniper episodes about that, and we're going to be doing shorts throughout the year. of giving you tips as to who's going to be like the tight end one, the quarterback to focus when we start looking at when we start the approach of for next year, for 2024, strategizing for next year. So there's gonna be a lot of information, man. Please make sure to hit that bell. You're gonna be happy that you did. Seriously, make sure and do that, please. And also make sure and check out highvolumemusicradio.com. Okay, they could. It's a startup radio station, been around for 2 years, based out of here in Houston. Okay, great music, great shows. My radio show, Drive Time Sports with Charlie and Brian, is on there. So make sure and check them out and download that free app. Check out Connor's book, You Know Too Much, on the Amazon platform. You'll be glad you did. All right, and I want to make sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this year is even better year than the last, and I will not stop saying this. I know you're gonna, you know what? Say it with me, everybody. Hopefully, if you've been watching to this point, you'll know what my parting shot is. It is better to play a good player in a great matchup than a great player in a bad matchup right now. Remember that. Better player. Okay, better to play a good player in a great matchup than a great player in a bad matchup. Keep that in mind. All right, everybody. I think that will go ahead and wrap it up for this week's week 16. Okay, the last minute starts and advice of the year for week 16. So let me go and stay it with the last line. Remember, everyone, in fantasy football, as in life, don't dream it, be it. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy the holiday. All right, thank you so much. Bye.